Hey everybody, Chris here. We're having what I would call a cautious recovery for Dogecoin and crypto following the end of the US government shutdown. I'm going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. And we did have the reopening of the US government after a 43-day shutdown, the longest in United States history, which kind of put a damper on the entire market. Trading volume was down, which made it ripe for liquidations, yes, especially the October 10th flash crash that we talk a lot. But since then, we've never really seen a full-scale recovery for most cryptos. Yeah, we've had like the privacy coin like Zcash, and we've had a few other odd cryptos here and there that have gone on big runs. For the most part, though, the entire market has just kind of been blah, which I show with my purple boxes and red boxes on my charts, and we will take a look at that. But going forward, there are indications, particularly for Dogecoin, for catalysts. Yes, we were talking about catalysts on my live stream last night. Some were just saying, oh, there's no more catalysts, there's nothing. Well, don't be so sure about that. Let me talk about it. Let me show you the charts in the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Then we start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart at 17.5 cents. I know you guys want it higher. I do too. It should be higher. It was big news last night, but this is what we got, 17.5. We had the big dump. Yes, a big dump on Wednesday morning, right at 10 o'clock, the Jane Street dump, taking out more leverage. And of course, that wasn't just Dogecoin. It was Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin actually led it, and the other cryptos followed as Bitcoin tanked yesterday morning, dropping all the way down to 100,800, now over 103. We did touch 104 earlier this morning, but this was the little pump that we had following the end of the US government shutdown. So it's a start, but even Bitcoin is below the bottom of its purple box. ETH, the purple box doesn't even show up. It's way up there. So Dogecoin, hey, doing okay, right? Between two boxes again. Here we are, right? Well, like halfway, right between the red box and the purple box. Got to see what it takes to get back up there. And the other thing of note that we'll talk about is going to be Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance running around 60%, and it has been slowly dropping. And we're going to see whether that accelerates or not. But it did break that sideways trend that we'd been on for the last week. And we'll see, we'll be watching as that goes forward from here. So where do we start? Let's start here. The crypto outlook, right? What the historic shutdown's end means for XRP, ETH, and Doge. Well, XRP we'll talk about in just a minute. ETFs, we'll talk about that. ETH, looks like ETH versus Bitcoin is trying to realign itself to have a nice move up, ETH versus Bitcoin, which again, we've been talking for months, right? We need to see that to have any hopes of an alt season. I know it's already like middle November. It's like, Chris, we're not having an alt season. It's done. Well, we could still have what I've been calling half an alt season. That could still happen. We'll see if money starts coming into crypto, and maybe, again, like we saw in 2021, it might be Dogecoin that actually leads the start of an alt season. We will be watching that. Here, Nick says, look, correct me if I'm wrong, but we just bounced out of extreme fear. We recovered from an event that dwarfed FTX and Luna. That flash crash is $20 billion, right, in leverage that got wiped out in like an hour, right, as we watched on that Friday afternoon, the huge dump in the crypto market. We have OGs mass selling their Bitcoin, right? And there's a lot of talks about that. Whales are selling, whales are selling. Well, if the whales are all selling, right, Bitcoin's still at $103,000 and it's not tanking, right? Yes, there's been this gradual, downflow that we've had. But again, this is all manipulation, up and down, right? That's what we're seeing. And survived the longest U.S. government shutdown ever. We sat through the worst sentiment of the entire cycle. Yeah, it's been so bad the past month. I get it, right? But yet, here we are. Right? Bitcoin closed above the 50-week moving average. It's still above 100K. Quit the doom scrolling. Things are better than the timeline would have you believe. So, and the other thing interesting, Crypto Native says, look, the OGs aren't selling at record levels. They're moving into custody or ETFs for tax breaks, right? So they're figuring out, well, yeah, if I just hold Bitcoin, it doesn't, I mean, all I get is the gains from the price, but I can do other things that helps me out. So we'll be watching that, the institutionalization of crypto. We do have this FOMC Fed rate in December, and right now, the odds of a 25 basis point rate cut is kind of going down a bit. We're now in the upper 50% rate. That's still more than half believe it, but the sentiment has kind of changed a little bit. I think when the jobs report comes out and it shows jobs have been bad, that's going to make this go back up. That's what I think is going to happen. But here we have, right, the battles of the shorts and the longs. Again, a lot of the shorts piling up above where the current price is, particularly in this 109 level. And then we looked on the live stream yesterday at 112, this 111 to 112 level. Just hundreds of millions of dollars if they want to go get those shorts, right? That's the thing to do. But yes, there's some longs down here as well from about a week ago, and they've been piling up too. So eyes on these levels right above or below, whichever breaks first could cause a bit of a squeeze, seeing the way Bitcoin is trading here. So we will continue to watch the heat maps. Falling wedges, right? Oh, Bitcoin's going down, falling wedge. Well, we've had other falling wedges earlier in 2025, right down to April with the fear of tariffs, falling wedge. And look what happened. Bitcoin went higher. Summer of 2024, we had a falling wedge. Look what happened. Bitcoin went higher. We can go back to early 2024, and we had a falling wedge. And look what happened. Bitcoin went higher. There's nothing saying that we're in a bear market yet, right? We don't have confirmation of a continuing downtrend for Bitcoin. Maybe on Sunday night, if Bitcoin closes below 103 and we're below the 50-week moving average, that might be the first sign, but it's not there yet. And again, we've been in this negative sentiment, right? Big flash crash, like freaked everyone out. We need some good news. And Bitcoin versus NASDAQ, I mean, typically Bitcoin has been correlated with the NASDAQ, right? The stock market just keeps going up. Money's flowing into the stock market, not into crypto right now because of the negative sentiment. This could turn around. Bitcoin could catch up. So we'll be watching that as well. Bitcoin dominance showing a little bit of weakness here, right? Since September, after we finally broke below 60%, Bitcoin has been slightly going up versus the rest of the crypto market. Of course, we had this October 10th, the flash crash, right? Bitcoin dominance spiked up and back down because the alts were just getting cremated on that flash crash that we had. But now we're kind of breaking sideways, right? But right below 60%. And this could be the start of Bitcoin dominance starting to move down as alts are going to catch a break. Now, what I'm looking at is all of this other news around payments and crypto. And look what happened here. The payments revolution. Visa is now piloting stablecoin payouts with USDC. Now, we've been looking at Visa. They made a partnership with X. Remember back in January? Partnership of Visa and X. U.S. businesses pay in dollars. Recipients can choose to receive in crypto. The world's largest payment network is going on-chain. This is a big move, right? Because Visa's all fiat, right? But if they start talking about USDC, well, it's stable coins, right? And we know what happens. But what are we waiting for? And this is what I posted last night. Elon Musk casually announcing the launch of X Money soon to the public. What? X Money? Yeah, we've been waiting for X Money. And here's Elon in a post reply to somebody else talking about things going on within X. And it's just interesting. The engineering team's building XChat. So XChat is going to be taking messaging and they're going to merge it with more of a chat feature which could also lead to video chats. So that will be coming. Encrypted and has audio video calling and file transfers. That's all going to be within the new X chat that's coming. And then Elon just casually mentions X money launching to the public soon. So this team is reporting directly to Elon, just like the X chat team reports directly to Elon. Elon has a very vested interest in this because this is a lot like WeChat in China, which he uses, and he's talked about it many times. But X money? I mean, Elon said it right there. Launching to the public soon. All right, it's coming. Dogecoin is not going to be on X money when it launches. I've been saying this for over a year. You guys need to forget that. And I keep seeing comments, oh, it's not going to have Doge. And I've said all along, it's not going to have Doge. Doge is not going to be there. But just the thought that it might be in the future will be enough to pump Dogecoin when X money launches, in my opinion. And most likely, it's probably going to go the stablecoin route with this Visa thing. I mean, that's kind of what it's looking like. But could there be a part of it that has Doge in the future, like for tipping? Or it could be. It could have that. Meanwhile, one interesting note was this Artemis Analytics has like top chains by fees, which is interesting because I've never really thought of Dogecoin as a chain, but it is, right? Dogecoin has its own blockchain. Doge OS is building stuff on it. That's coming. But look at this right now, even before Doge OS, we've got Hyperliquid, sure, right? Hyperliquid has huge amounts of fees because of the big, swapping and trading that goes on that platform. And this is the new edge, right? This is a more recent thing, and it's probably going to drop down. Tron, slow and steady, stable coins, right? Here's the Solana, which is mostly those pump.fun tokens. And here's ETH. We got a BNB chain, right? That keeps marching along. We've got Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin fees are mostly the buying and selling of the ETFs right now, because then what happens, right? Then BlackRock and ARK and all of those, right? ETFs sell, then they got to sell Bitcoin. ETFs buy, then they got to buy Bitcoins. This is all Bitcoin fees here. We've got Base. Base is closing in on Bitcoin. Here's Arbitrum, and here's Dogecoin right there. There's Doge. So again, Doge is most likely going to move up this list here when Doge OS launches, and we're going to have more chain activity on the Dogecoin blockchain. And interesting that Dogecoin is higher than Polygon, higher than Sui, higher than Kronos and Avalanche and Toncoin, right? The whole Telegram thing is down. Kind of interesting. Dogecoin, right? You're not going to see that with any other meme because Doge is the only meme coin, the only one that has its own blockchain. And it's going to be interesting to watch what happens here with Doge. I'll keep my eye on that. But here's the big thing, right, that's coming. XRP and Doge. The ETF floodgates are about to open. The SEC's reactivation could unlock like 90 pending crypto ETF applications, many now moving toward final review after the 43-day shutdown. This could be a floodgate moment. Now, we were hoping like Doge would have its own day, right? And it would just all be about Doge. That doesn't look like that's going to happen. But still, XRP looks like it's going to be first in line. We'll see, because the DTCC has already listed those the 11 XRP linked products. But you know what? Doge has also appeared on the DTCC registry. So we'll see. Grayscale, Bitwise, and then 21 shares coming. That's all coming too for Dogecoin. Those are catalysts. Those are catalysts for Dogecoin. What do you mean Dogecoin has no catalysts? The daily RSI, it's starting to recover. Right on the daily, we're getting the RSI is coming up a little bit, after the dip we saw last week. So that's recovering. We also have a broadening wedge, possibly. Now, this is kind of, you know how Trader Allen is, right? But the spring action is a catalyst, and a catalyst that could rocket Dogecoin up in price, just like we saw back in November 2024, right? You get a broadening wedge, you get a spring action, and up you go. But it needs a reason for do that. It's not going to just do it naturally, right? This was all the Trump winning the election with Elon and Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, like all of that excitement. That's the kind of thing that can happen again. And Dogecoin, it holds near 17 cents. Buyers defend key support ahead of a breakout test. So this is, and we won't get into all this detail here, but again, Dogecoin has been seeing higher lows since April, right? Still higher lows. The pattern continues upwards with higher lows. Support is being tested, yes, but the outlook, Dogecoin sits at a technical crossroads. 16 cent to 18 cent range is defining sentiment. The narrowing triangle pattern points to an imminent breakout that could shape the coin's direction for the remainder of the quarter. Confirmed close above 18.5 would open upside targets to 20 and 24. Break below 16, you could trigger renewed selling back to 13 cents, which is where we were back in April. In earlier analyses, Dogecoin's structural resilience around the 16-cent base was emphasized as a key indicator of long-term accumulation. That view remains intact. As long as buyers continue defending this level, flows remain balanced, the coin setup favors a constructive outcome, and a sustained move above the 50-day EMA near 19.8 would further validate bullish momentum into December. That sounds pretty good to me for Doge. Right now, setting at 17.5 cents. We'll see what happens when the stock market opens this morning, how it's going to react. U.S. government reopening, right? Shutdown is over. We can start to get some more positive mentality, sentiment coming into the market. Let's go. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this sort of cautious optimism that I'm starting to see now with crypto again, as this, we have to rebuild everything, right? Got to rebuild from October and see how that goes. Give the video a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.